Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good evening and very warm welcome to this particular episode of Talk Shop by Faizal Tasneem. Um, I think it's good afternoon over there in USA. So
Yeah.
everybody who is watching us from USA Live, thank you so much for joining us, taking out time to be a part of this particular fantastic conversation that we are about to have. I cannot thank enough Kechi for being on my show. Uh, what a wonderful way to start off this new series on my show, Your Awesome series. It is intended to broadcast the stories of young celebrities, young people who are doing
मोहम्मद कहाँ
exceptional,
का
who are
नाम
doing
है?
exceptional job in the domains that they are part of. So I'll just mute people if that's all right. A request to all of you who are joining us for this live stream. Could you please mute your mics when you join? All right. Thank you. Hi. So
Facebook का सलाम अलैकुम.
it is, could all of you please mute yourself because I have muted everybody here. Okay. All right. Okay. Kechi, who has been spreading positive vibes in whatever she does nowadays. And what a wonderful way to start off my particular series with a very vibrant, exceptionally talented singer. She's not only a singer, but actually what attracted me more to broadcast her story is the way she has been uh, spreading positive vibes in the lives of so many. She's using her voice to broadcast hope. This is so important for me, and this is a phenomenal thing to be doing in this particular times when everybody is absolutely marred with the uncertainty happening around us, and there are so many stages and phases where people are not very sure of the choices they are making, the way life is dealing with them. There is such hopelessness in so many parts of the world due to a lot of things happening at the same time. In these times, these young people who are trying to spread hope, who are trying to be positive part of the society, they are actually doing incredible job. And I am so thrilled that Kechi has agreed to be part of this particular series. And I need to thank Vomi for the introduction. Thank you, Vomi, for all this. So Kechi, very warm welcome to you. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you over here. Kechi, you might need to unmute yourself. Um, yeah, I think you might.
Hello, Faiza. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Kechi, I actually cannot give the introduction of a person like you. A huge persona, a huge persona, a larger than life portrait, and such vibrant colors to your personality. So the people who would
Oh,
be watching you, who are watching you right now, and would be watching you later on the recorded YouTube thing, I want you to talk about a bit about yourself. Uh, how did what was your life like in Nigeria? For those who are here who know Kechi and who don't Kechi and who don't know Kechi, Kechi is a Nigerian American singer, and she has been a finalist in America Has Got Talent, which is a huge achievement. Just like it was a dream come true for her, it is a dream come true for me right now to be talking to her. So, Kashi, thank you so much. I feel absolutely overwhelmed.
you're so kind. Thank you so much, Faiza, for having me. So yeah, hi everyone. My name is Kechi Okwuchi, as Faiza said. I'm 31. I just turned 31 actually on Thursday, so woo.
Belated birthday.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm a singer, as Faiza said. I'm also a speaker. I am a burn survivor advocate. I'm a bullying prevention activist, and soon to be author. Just adding more and more, titles, I guess, to my identity. But clearly, I'm a burn survivor, obviously. And my story is one that started in 2005 back in my home country, Nigeria. Um, Before I get into all that, you asked about my childhood in Nigeria, and it was a very happy one. I had the best time as a kid. I was an only child for the first 11 years of my life. So my parents spoiled me rotten, and we didn't have a lot. We weren't like rich or anything, but I never felt like I wanted for anything. They provided for me over and beyond anything that like now I know that they definitely did everything they could to provide for me. And I never felt like I was lacking anything, especially in happiness and just childhood joy. I spent a lot of my time with my extended family, cousins, relatives. Nigeria has that kind of it kind of has that tradition of this family unit being so important. So a lot of times you have people who are very close to extended members of their family, and that was the same for my family. So I grew up with my cousins, my aunts. These were my first friends were my cousins, and my mom's sisters were my second moms. So that was kind of the foundation I had growing up. And then that was pretty much my childhood from 1 to 11. My little sister was born after that, and then I started high school, which is where I met Wumie. And high school is where I was when the accident happened. But yeah, my childhood was fun.
Yeah, this sound very happy. You must be a very happy child then. Were you naughty? Were you very demanding?
I was definitely naughty. Oh yeah, I was naughty for sure. I was very naughty. Yeah, my parents would say. I was very charming and sweet and doted on because I was the first grandchild. So everyone just really doted on me. But I was definitely I talked a lot. I was very talkative. I was very bossy to my cousins and running around everywhere. I thought I acted like, because all my cousins were boys up until I was about maybe 8. I had like 5 male cousins, and so I used to just play with them like I was a boy.
Okay, that's great.
And so that used to bug my parents a lot. They would be worried about me playing, too roughly and all that. That did change eventually when I became a teenager, but I had a great time with my cousins, growing up with my cousins, and we're still, because of that bond we had as kids, it kind of carried over into our adulthood. But yeah, I was a very precocious child. Yes, I know I was.
Oh, this is great. I mean, the laughter you can have on the memories that you make when you're as a child, and when grow from childhood to teenage and then to another stages of life. I think this is one of the most precious things that we can have, memories, wonderful memories.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So
it sustains me big time.
Yeah, of course. They are the bond that you have with the family and extended family, with your cousins and your friends outside the family. It's one of the most sustainable force of motivation and strength in all of us life, and especially the teenagers. I think it is one thing that they need to cherish. And this is one thing they need to cherish. And this brings, I've seen people getting out of worse situations in life due to this particular bond that they have with people, the support they get from the people. So yes, we are very lucky to be surrounded by such people.
I agree.
Yeah. So Kechi, you had a wonderful childhood and you had wonderful college time, I'm sure, as well. So share with us some stories from your college time, university, college times.
University. Okay, so the thing about college is the accident happened before that. So I went to college after the accident happened, which is here in America. I had moved here by the time the accident happened. And so my college experience was actually extremely straightforward. I guess at that point in my life, I really felt more like it was less about immersing myself in the college experience and more about playing catch up, where I felt like I was so behind in life that I just wanted to like graduate. I wanted to do my best as much as possible and graduate as excellently as possible. So I was extremely, I guess, serious, very focused on like my studies. I didn't really do a lot of extracurricular stuff except in my senior year. And I just made the most experience I made in school was really academic. You know, I was very immersed in that. Also, there was the fact that, like, you know, being out of school for such a long time post accident, I really was in a place where I just wanted to soak up as much knowledge and information as possible. I felt very empty, and it was a very weird thing because I wasn't exactly the best student as a high schooler. I didn't
Mhm.
really care that much about school as much as I did about college, but not having that part of my life, not having that foundation for years, because it was about 5 years before I went back into school, it made me feel so bereft. And I just felt like in my life, I got to a point where it just became like surgery day in and day out. And I just
Mhm.
wanted anything that was different from that. And so
Mhm.
I delved into, I put everything 100% into school and just soaked up as much information as I could. And that was really what it was for me. So I don't really have a lot of stories. The only thing I can say is that my final year, when I did finally branch out and do other things aside from, you know, school stuff, um, a very significant life-changing thing happened during that course of branching out. It was in my final year, like I said, and every year my school had always had this talent show called Kelt's Got Talent. Kelt's is the name of the school team. So it's a small school, a private school. So their team isn't like, you know, state like well known or anything, but they're called the Celts. And so they would have this thing called Celts Got Talent. And even though I did love to sing, I would never have. I was never interested in like putting myself out there and singing for anyone other than my family. You know, just
Mhm.
I would never sing. I mean, even singing in church was such a big step for me. Like, I would never do anything beyond my house.
Oh,
I
this
was
is
just
interesting.
never ever really, yeah. So throughout my college time, like I would just singing was a hobby, and you never went beyond that. But in my so every year my school would do Kel's Got Talent, and then in my final year, um, around the first semester, that was when America's Got Talent first reached out to me.
When
After,
everybody is absolutely marked with the uncertainty happening around us, and there are so. Sorry for that.
oh no, it's okay.
Uh,
Okay, so let me see. Yes, so my first semester, I the whole America's Got Talent thing happened. They basically reached out and got interested in me and having me on the show. So during the second semester, while things were still going, Kel's Got Talent came up, and that was when I felt inclined to participate for the first time ever. And I only did it because suddenly I might be on this big show called America's Got Talent, and you know, maybe I can like practice, you know, with this particular one that my school's doing, you know, and see how would I do in a small scale version of
yeah,
this huge televised show, you know, and then
absolutely.
maybe based off of that, I can decide maybe I actually can do this America's Got Talent thing. So that was what happened. That was my second semester, and I signed up. And I remember I sang this song that they did for the audition that we did for the people that were hosting the show. I sang a song that they didn't know, which apparently isn't good. I didn't know that. So anyway, they reached out to us via email, the people who participated, like who auditioned, and they said that I didn't make the cut. So there were like 9 people. They chose 8, the first 8, and I was number 9. So I was like, oh well, that's unfortunate. Oh well, you know. So I moved on, and then a few weeks after that, I got another email saying that one of the people that the top 8 people they chose dropped out and couldn't participate anymore. So since I was runner up, they're going to put me in if I'm okay with that. So I was like, all right, cool, calm, that's fine. So that's how I actually ended up being on the show after all. And then when the show actually happened, I ended up winning the show, which was really interesting.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that was like it was
Tremendous.
also very encouraging, you know. So I felt like, okay, if I can like, you know, kind of, you know, inadvertently win a college talent show, then maybe I do have a shot at being on America's Got Talent, you know? So it gave me a lot more confidence going into the show. I thought that was just cool how things worked out, you know. The first time I get on the college version, I actually do well in it, and then, you know, it kind of ends up being a preamble to the real thing. So that was like the most interesting, I think, that happened while I was in college. And yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But you landed a chance to sing in America's Got Talent, and it's a huge thing. It's a huge breakthrough. So tell us about the journey that you have had, starting from the auditions
Mm.
I think you participated in 2019 as well, finalist for
Mm.
2019
Yes,
as
I
well.
did.
So
Yeah. Uh-huh.
2017, between 2017 and 2019, what sort of
Yeah.
a journey it was?
It was, I will say, number one thing, nerve-wracking. Like it was
Nah,
extremely nerve-wracking, so tense, and not because of anyone around me, but because of how I felt inside, being part of something so big.
yeah.
Also because I didn't quite prepare for something of this magnitude, because I really didn't think I would get past the first audition. So everything from that point was really just extra, and was really just like, I can't believe I made it this far.
Oh yeah,
Every time I made it
absolutely.
further, I would just be like, God, what is going on? Like, am I seriously still here? Like, what's
Actually,
happening?
God is being kind. He's good all the time. This is what was
It
happening.
was, I know, it was crazy. I mean, so the way I actually got on the show, I don't know if you know, but Wumie was actually the one who signed me up for the show.
Oh really?
Yeah,
This is
without saying
absolutely
anything to
fantastic.
me. She didn't tell me. She'd been telling me years before that I should sign up for one of these shows, but I was not ever gonna do it myself. And I guess she just knew that if she didn't take that step for me, I just never would do it. So
Well, I mean,
she
thumbs up for
filled out
you.
the she was an online application that she filled out and everything, and she put her email, I remember, in the application, so that if they rejected me, I wouldn't get the email. She would get the email,
Oh,
but
well, thoughtful
she
of her.
wanted me to. So basically, then they reached out to her, and actually, before they even emailed her, they called me, and then sometime after that, after they called me and told me that they saw my application and they want me to be on the show, she called me telling me she just got an email from America's Got Talent saying that they want me to be on the show. What's going on? And so that's how we realized that they actually wanted me to. They were considering having me on the show. So that was in 2017, end of 2017. And I remember 2018, I started traveling a lot and for the show, filming and different things, recording this and that, because the audition is actually pre-recorded, but then the
Mm.
live shows are live. So I did a lot of pre-recording. I went to LA a lot of times during that second semester, which is also when the college talent show happened. And I was also working at the time, but because of all my traveling, I got fired, and
Really?
that really sucks because that scared. Yeah, like I was like, I remember like driving home crying my eyes out, and not to like park on the side of the road so I don't like crash, but like I was so
Oh,
confused, like what am I doing, like how can I lose an actual job for like a chance to be on a TV show? Like what do I think I'm doing here? Like am I trying to be a singer? Like what do you even think is happening? I felt so stupid. I just felt so dumb. Like how can you be fired from a job? You don't even know what is going to happen with AGT. Is it going to go well? You don't even know. How could this happen? How could you
why did
dedicate
they
so
fire
much
you in
time
the
to this
first
thing?
place?
Because I wasn't available whenever they needed me to do
Okay.
stuff.
All
I
right.
mean, honestly, I can't blame them, honestly. That's the thing. I couldn't even be mad because they were like, you were like, when you're here, you do a great job, but like, you're not here enough, and we can't
Mhm.
like have you not being present, and paying you for not being here.
Mm.
That's not okay. So I understood their reasons. It was valid, but it sucked. And so
Yeah,
my mom was the one who was just like, listen, Kechi, she was like, I mean, look, you don't know why this happened. You didn't even sign up for this show. So everything happening right now is just God. And so you don't know what his plans are. So you have to
yeah,
just like
sure.
trust the process. And it sucks that you got fired, but guess what? Like now you have no choice but to pour everything into this opportunity. So, you might as well take it all the way to the end and see what happens. And that really encouraged me. So, that's basically how I ended up, auditioning. And I remember the first audition was the worst one. It was so nerve wracking. I was so nervous. Like I really was so nervous. But the judges were really sweet, and so was the audience. And so I did that first performance that everyone watched, and right there and then they told me that they gave me 4 yeses. And so I was just like, I remember leaving the show and just being like, am I actually going to be coming back here for the next like filming? Like what is going like what? Because for me, like being on the like even being on that first audition was already such an honor. I just felt like everything else, like I didn't expect anything else. So I got on the judge cut episode, and then we went to film that. My mom came with me for that one.
Mm.
And I remember I was sick that time. I had the worst cold, the worst cough, which
Mm.
is just not that's the worst thing for a singer. But
Yeah,
every
of
time I would
course.
cough, no matter how bad the cough got, my voice never went. which is very odd, you know. So I just kept praying all the way up to the moment when I stepped on the stage. I was still coughing and like sucking on lozenges, like, you know, doing like a lot of like cough drops, drinking
Yeah.
tea, everything. And then I got on the episode, and that performance was actually my favorite one. Like the only one I actually watch like after the fact is that performance that I did that I was sick. That was like ironically my favorite one. I felt like I sounded my best there. And through that performance I got to the live shows. So yeah, it was just a really great experience. Honestly, it was a lot of overcoming my fears and my personal concerns about being on the show for
Hmm.
my story and not my voice. I was really afraid of I didn't like that might be the case. I never wanted that to be the case. I wanted to be on a show like that for my talent and not for my story. It's not about stories, it's about talent. And so I didn't want to be in a spot that was meant to be for someone else, you know. So
Yeah.
all the time my prayer was always, you know, God, please, if I'm not supposed to be here, just get me out of here. I don't want to ever be where I'm not supposed to be. So if I keep going forward, this is all you, and I'm just going to trust that it's all you. So that's how I ended up on the final. And yeah, I remember the finale was a lot of fun. I was just happy that I actually made it to the end. I didn't care that I won or not won. I was just like, I can't believe I'm here at the end of the show, you
Yeah.
know. And basically, I mean, the rest is history. AGT changed my life dramatically. Not only changed my perspective of myself as a singer, it also it allowed me to dream for the first time of like of the possibility of a career in music.
Hmm.
That was something I never considered. I didn't think would ever happen. And honestly, it was just a dream come true. In fact,
Hmm.
it was more like I would never have like imagined that would happen. So I didn't even dare to dream for something like that. You know, it was just
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
basically, you know, after that show, people showed so much interest in me traveling and coming to them and singing for the events, performing in different places that I never would have thought possible, and speaking, lots of speaking engagements. People wanted to hear a lot from me, like my story and what inspired me and things like that, things that made me strong. They wanted to
Hmm.
tap into that. And essentially, all the attention and the exposure the show gave me allowed me to build this brand that I have today, where I get to use my story and my voice to encourage people and show them that there is life after trauma, and
Yeah.
encourage them to not be afraid to take risks, you know, and to be strong during hardship, so that you can reap the rewards and live the rewards of those hardships, you know. So that's really what my message is out there, whether it's through my voice or my story. I want to, or just me living my life, I want to show people that they
Yeah.
can too, no matter what they go through. So yeah, I mean, oh yeah, AGC 2019 was also great. It was great being on the show a second time, because that was for like people who had they invited people who they felt were the most impactful, people that had the most impact whenever they appeared on the show. So
Oh,
like
wow.
people who were
That's a wow
the most
moment.
memorable performances, most memorable acts. So it was really an honor to be there, because it was like myself, and there were actually quite a few people from my season on that show, which was very cool, and a lot of other people that I only had seen on TV as performers but never seen in person. So it was really cool to associate with these people, and an honor to be in their presence, to be considered as someone that can be next to them, performing next to these incredible people.
Hmm.
So I just felt like I felt so honored to be on that show. And
This is
again, it was never
incredible,
about
Kashi.
winning.
Yeah,
It was really
and you
cool.
have a wonderful voice. I've heard a few of your songs, and I can vouch for it. You sing from your heart and soul. When I
I
heard you singing, not only on AG, America's Got Talent, but otherwise
mm,
as well on YouTube, I was really moved by the compassion you have, and your choice of songs is absolute phenomenal. Wonderful choice of songs. Yeah.
thank you.
So
Thank you so much.
Ketchy, you have had wonderful transformation in your life.
Mm,
There are different stages that you have been through, and there were challenges that you have faced, challenges that not many of us could even have thought of. Um, what kept you motivated during those challenging times? You mentioned that there was a bond within the family and the support of the friends, and but what else was there? What was the inner drive to make you, smile in the face of all those oddities?
I think there were several factors really that kind of came together to allow me to kind of maintain my personality and to maintain a, I guess, an optimistic outlook in life. Not really optimistic, but I guess realistic. Not allowing the tragedy of what had happened
Yeah.
to me
Yeah.
become my life story. But only
Absolutely.
be a part of it. And these factors are I mean, first thing first, of course, my family, my mom, special mention to my mother for being my absolute rock in this time. The hardest time of my life was right after the accident. I was flown to South Africa, which is where they actually treated me and kept me alive in the
Mm.
hospital in Johannesburg. I was there for 7 months, 4 months in the ICU, 3 months in the ward. And that was essentially where they saved my life. That's where, that's where they made sure that I stayed alive enough to receive the kind of reconstructive surgery that I would need to actually live a practical life.
Mm.
That happened here in America, but South Africa is where they saved my life, and it was while I was there that I had to kind of learn a bunch of different things about identity, about
Mm.
myself, about my burns, and what my burns would represent to me moving forward in life. How was
Mm.
I going to what priority and what role were my injuries going to play in me reforming my identity so that when I go back out there into the world and try to reintegrate with the world, it doesn't become something that people use to judge me, because that's going to happen regardless. But
Mm.
how much I let that affect me, how much I let their judgment affect me, all depends on me and what I decide my burns mean to me. So I had to decide all that while I was still in the hospital, because if I go back out there, not knowing what my
Mm.
scars mean to me, not deciding what role they'll play in my life, then other people will decide that for me, and I will be swayed by anything anyone says about how I look, and I couldn't let that happen. So first things first, I needed to have the support that I had through my family. My support system was incredible. My mom was incredible, and they literally did everything they could to make me feel like I didn't have to be different or change how I was because I looked different. They didn't treat me any different, and that encouraged me a lot, and they were there for me, especially the hard times when I would be down and depressed and things like that. So my support system, and support system is not just family, it's also,
Yeah.
my physiotherapist who didn't give up on
Absolutely.
me every time I
Absolutely.
didn't want to do my therapy. It was
Yeah.
also the doctors who always came and checked up on me, even though they weren't my doctors anymore. It was people who believed in me and my strength and my inner strength, you know, um, even when I didn't believe in myself. That's what a support system is. And I had that in abundance. So I thank God for that. But then next thing was my identity, dealing
Mm.
with that and what my burns that in relation to my scars,
Yeah.
my new appearance,
Yeah.
because I hadn't seen my face about 4 months into my treatment, and I knew that I would look different,
Mm.
just based on the bandages I could see on the rest of my body. So I remember I asked my mom to bring a mirror to the hospital the next day so I could see my face. And I know she was very nervous because basically my whole family was nervous because I was very pretty and
Yeah.
very aware of it as a teenager
Yeah.
and extremely self-involved, very vain. And so basically anyone who knew me knew that I liked to look good. I liked how I looked. I drew a lot of confidence from how I looked. So now that I look different, I'm sure that we're all worried that, I would change. And
Mm.
I was worried about that too. So I
Mm.
remember when she brought the mirror, I looked at myself, and I remember, like, yeah, I could see like the scars. I could see like my skin. I basically had no skin. I did not look like Kechi, but I still felt like it. I can't explain it because I didn't look like me, but it felt like me. Like as I
Mm.
looked at the reflection, something in it was still familiar, and that wouldn't happen if whatever made me who I was didn't go beyond my physical appearance, and it
Absolutely.
clearly did. And that was really the moment that birthed my, I guess, my mantra, my life mantra, which is that my scars do not define me, my trauma does not
Absolutely.
define me.
Absolutely.
And because I realized that in that moment, it really doesn't matter what I look like, I'm still going to feel like me. So that was a huge moment for me and opened my eyes to the fact that I didn't have to change my personality. I didn't have to change how I dressed, the things I like
Mm.
to do for fun, the people I like to hang out with. Like, I didn't have to change any of that based on my appearance. And that was so important to me to realize. And it gave me confidence, along with my support system, who didn't treat me different because I look different. That gave me confidence to just be myself and make sure I remember that my scars don't define me after I leave the hospital, and I'm back out there into the world. Because people will judge me based on how I look. They do that all the time, even now, but I couldn't let that affect how I saw myself. And I chose to see myself the way God sees me, because he doesn't care about any of
Yeah,
this. It's all about what
yeah,
he put inside us. And I feel like that
absolutely.
was the
This
safest
is
way to see
beautiful.
myself, because it's oh yeah, that's pretty much what it was. And of course, I didn't come to this like realization like magically. It was like my family was there to help me to make sure I saw things that way. And I my faith grew significantly during this time as well. So I think all these different things, basically, long story short, my faith, my family, my support system, and understanding that my scars don't define me, these things came together to help me, I guess, just develop a shield, I guess, to protect
Absolutely.
myself from the world and its judgments.
Kashi, this is absolutely incredible and this is absolutely brave of you. And let me tell you that you have got a beautiful soul. And that reflects in everything that you're doing. And Kashi, you are associated with a lot of, you're ambassador of a lot of initiatives which are meant to empower youth
Hmm.
in a variety of things that are
Hmm.
happening. Would you like to share with us what are some of the initiatives that you are currently part of? And if there is anybody who's watching
Yes.
us now or later on, if they want to get volunteer for these initiatives that you're representing, is there a way to reach out?
Oh yeah. Okay, so yes, I'm a part of a lot of initiatives because I believe that a big part of my platform is to use whatever influence I have to reach the younger generation, whether it's millennials, my generation, or Gen Z, or anyone at all, but mostly teenagers. I feel like they're the most vulnerable group in this world to every
Absolutely.
kind of influence out there, especially social media. And so I try to use my social media to encourage them, to give them confidence in themselves,
Mhm.
and to let them feel like it's okay to be your authentic self and not to conform to what the world wants you to be in every environment you find yourself in. So I try to be part of initiatives that promote this kind of ideology. One of the most important ones for me is bullying prevention. Aside from the fact that my little sister went through that, like bullying when we first moved to America, I have that personal, because of her, I have that personal drive to like make sure what happened to her never happens to anyone else. I also feel like the drive to prevent bullying was also something that was born from me looking so different. I never,
Mhm.
thank God, went through any kind of bullying experience that I'm aware of because of my looks. It just never was something that I experienced personally. But I do know that a lot of burn survivors have experienced that
Mhm.
in their lives and in schools or wherever. And that I don't like that at all. So I think what happened with my sister, plus knowing that burn survivors go through, or anyone who looks different goes through
Mhm.
some sort of bullying. Those two things are really what motivated me. The first, like that was my first drive to speak out against bullying and let people know about resources that they can gather to help them to know what to do if you're being bullied, or if you observe someone, because sometimes you don't know what to do if you see it happening, but you can do something more. You can do more than being a bystander and letting it happen, but people don't always know how to do that because people aren't naturally confrontational. So I just want to be part of something that lets people know that you don't have to take this. And so one of the first ones I joined was called Be Strong.
Be
Be Strong
strong.
Global.
Okay.
Yeah, Be Strong. So bestrong.com, that's their website. And basically, they are a powerhouse of resources to talk to people. They have counselors, psychologists, people that basically kids can reach out to if they're being bullied or if they know someone that's being bullied. There's different like empowerment, like now it's mostly virtual, but at the time they have a lot of different, like they travel around and do a lot of campaigns in different states where they invite mostly students. They do it in schools, or they invite students from schools to attend, where they empower them with performances or people that they look up to that can speak to them and speak life and positivity into their lives and encourage them, and let them know that basically you don't have to stay in this place of being bullied forever. You don't have to suffer in silence either.
Mhm.
So it also encourages you to speak out against it. So
Yeah.
that was something that was really a big deal to me. And being part of Be Strong gave, at first I was only doing a lot of, like, I would visit high schools and talk to like middle schoolers and high schoolers about that, and about how to how to deal with bullies, whether it's online or in person. but then joining Be Strong allowed me to reach a bigger audience, so being able to participate in their events allows me to reach a wider audience and more students that I ever thought I would be able to. So that's a big deal for me. Another one is it's called We Movement. We Movement. They have these, yeah, they have these events called We Day, and it's like We Day in different states essentially, and it's basically an organization that encourages kids from as young as you want. It doesn't matter how young, doesn't matter how, like kids, like I think the age is like up to like 18 or something, and they encourage them to basically do the good that you can do, have the positive impact you can have within your community. Everyone always feels like you can't change
I
the
think
world,
that's the
but like
beauty of diversity and living in diverse cultures. I think if there
exactly,
is diversity, there has to be a sense of inclusion in that diversity too.
yes,
For the
oh yeah,
sake
for
diversity
sure,
for the sake of diversity doesn't work very well. Uh,
no,
so diversity and inclusion, they go
for
hand
the
in
sake of
hand.
inclusion. Yes, that's so true. So yeah, I like what they do. Yeah, they basically encourage kids to do that, to give out, to give back to their communities. And so wherever community you're in, you can make that impact. You don't have to try and change the world, but like within your own little world, you can do something. And so basically they encourage them to do this so that they can earn tickets through their volunteer work and hours to this event called We Day, where celebrities come and perform for them, basically. So
Oh, this is
there's
lovely.
different people, yeah, a lot of times, yeah, like every kind of celebrity you can think of, really. So it's really a good way to
Tremendous.
also encourage kids to like meet their favorite celebrities and things like that through volunteer work. And so I've been honored to actually be invited to sing at these events. Yeah, so it's been really cool being a part of their initiative. And I do stuff for them all the time, really happily, because I
Yeah,
think
well,
what they're
this
doing
is
is really
actually
cool.
this is much needed, especially in the times, even pre-COVID times. There was so much need for this particular this sort of work in the world. And the way you were talking, it reminded me of Michael Jackson's song, which I heard long time back, "Heal the World." I hope I'm pronouncing the title of the song
Heal
correctly.
the world. Yes, you
Absolutely,
did.
yeah. The way you're working and the way you're
It makes me
talking,
feel that way too.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, yeah. I think kindness is one of the things. In one of my previous programs, I've said that uh, even before Corona and after Corona, people will realize that kindness and being nice to other people is going to become a new form of currency that people are going to use. This is something that we all love, and this is something that needs to get its rightful recognition in the world right now. Through this crisis, I think there are multiple opportunities that have risen, and youngsters like you are really making waves in these domains. So thank you so much for doing such a wonderful
No,
job in spreading this vibe, positive vibes across so many fields. It is not easy to put smile on people's face. It is not at all.
I know.
So anybody who is doing it with the same zeal and with the same passion that you're doing, I think they owe, as people like you, owe a lot of gratitude from people like around the globe. So, Kechi,
Thank you.
I saw a TED talk that you did. You were a
Yes.
speaker and you are a motivational speaker on different platforms. So, when you go to these platforms and you see a lot of keen eyes looking at you, people wanting to learn from all of us. So,
Hmm.
what sort of challenges? And you have traveled a lot, mashallah, across the world. What challenges do you see youth facing nowadays?
Mm. I think self-confidence is a big one. Self-confidence. I think also identity. Um,
Okay.
there's a lot of how do I say it? We live in a world that has a lot of standards,
Yeah,
oftentimes very impossible to meet, right? But
absolutely.
also oftentimes ever changing. They change a lot. There's a lot of standards that come with trends, they come and go with trends. And I find that especially in this age of social media, a lot of people, especially youth, are easily swayed by the changing trends of this world.
Mm,
And that basically affects your identity. Because if
mm,
you're not sure of who you are, every time a trend changes, you change along with it, and your identity changes with it. You identify with this trend, you identify with the next one, until these trends are basically what are defining you.
mm.
I think that's really the biggest thing. I think, yeah, I see it a lot on social media. I see it a lot when I meet people, and even without meeting someone individually, just in general.
Hmm.
Speaking specifically about a trend that changes all the time, beauty standards.
Yeah.
What's beautiful, what's not, what kind of body is in, what's not. Right now it's the curvy girl that's in, and that's great for curvy girls like me, cool.
Hmm.
But like, what happens when the next trend is the skinny girl? What happens when the next trend is, when I was younger, it was like skinny and tall. That was what was in. So I
Hmm.
feel like a lot of times with all these trends and the way that social media and TV and commercials,
Hmm.
gear, um, they try to basically gear all the stuff that they market to people who look a certain way, that
Absolutely.
that the world has decided is the way to look right now. Like the world has,
Hmm.
if the world has decided that this is beauty now, then there's a lot more pressure on kids, especially girls,
Hmm.
to look that way,
Yeah.
and to not feel beautiful if they don't look that way.
Yeah.
So there's what I try to do with my platform, whether I'm speaking in person to a group of people, or if I'm doing any kind of posting on my social
Hmm.
media, is to show people that it's okay to love yourself the way that you are, so that basically, even when the way that you are is no longer what's the trend,
Hmm.
you don't have an identity crisis. I want people to understand and love themselves as they truly are, so
Hmm.
that when things, because trends will come and they will go, and you can be
Yeah.
sure that as that changes, people's opinions change as well. So the
Absolutely.
people who think you're beautiful now, they might not think so when things change. So you can't, it's so dangerous to tie how you feel about yourself to how other people feel about you, and how trends decide,
Yeah.
on what trends decide. So I want people to basically love their bodies and themselves and their faces as they are right now, so that when the changes come, they don't find like themselves trying to change identity based on
Yeah.
those changes. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's something that I think that's something that I think God gave me, especially I want to say through this accident, showing me in a very dramatic, significant way that
Hmm.
it's the inside that matters. I think what
Absolutely.
happened to me was drastic enough that it could have been me basically shielding myself from the world, and not want I wanted to hide because I look so different from everyone else. But
Hmm.
the opposite was what happened, and I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for that. And so I want to show people that basically, if I can feel beautiful, and if I can feel like me, no matter
Hmm.
what anyone says, no matter what size I am, no matter how skinny I am, no matter what I look like in my face, if I can feel like Kechi, regardless, you
Hmm.
can do it too. We're all human beings. We can all do it. And we don't have to conform to whatever the standards of the world are.
Absolutely.
So that's really something that I think I'm seeing a lot of, and I'm trying to combat with my social media. So I always try to post my reality. People
Hmm.
don't always look good every day.
Yeah.
No one looks
Absolutely.
good all the time. And so I show different things. I show when I have my surgeries. I show sometimes with my wig, without my wig. So people know, like, don't see something and think that this is how people are 24/7. It's unrealistic.
Yeah.
So I try to use my social media to combat what I see out there on other people's platforms, where they only post the good and the perfect. And then there's all these kids following them that think that this
Hmm.
is okay. This is normal.
Hmm.
That's not reality. It's social media,
Hmm.
so I want people to feel like themselves authentically as much as possible. I feel like once you do, you have a more solid base of confidence that is less likely to be influenced by other people. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I
that's
think
that's one thing.
you're very spot on with your analysis of the challenges. One of the biggest challenges that youth of today is facing, and a lot of researches are being done on this particular hashtag trend of being a fear of being missed out. This is a hashtag on Twitter, and
FOMO.
there's a lot of
Mm,
research being done that why do in youth especially, be it Generation Z or millennials, they feel the urge to be part of something which they do not belong to, just for the sake of probably following the trend for the
being
sake of it, and then
yes,
ending up
pressure.
in a worse way than they would have assumed or imagined. So adding on to
Agree.
the unnecessary pressure on their
Hmm.
mental health. So yeah, that is also. Kechi, are you associated with the platforms which are working on mental health issues as well?
Let me see. Mental health.
Because it's one of the most important topics that
Very much so.
you know.
I believe, yeah. Um, the only one I don't think I've done anything with a group that is specifically focused on mental health,
Hmm.
but I have done a lot of collaborations with
Okay.
different organizations that do. One major one for me is actually Wumie's organization, Imani. Imani Health Foundation is, I'm on the board of the organization
Oh,
with
this is
Wumie,
fantastic.
and yeah, and the main thing for her, why she founded this organization, was because she wanted to combat sexual violence and gender-based violence,
Yeah.
with young girls. She doesn't want that kind of experience to keep happening to young girls, especially in Nigeria. Really, in
Yeah.
any environment she finds herself in, but she focuses on the Nigerian girl child because she's
Yeah.
Nigerian. You know, but she understands also that there's a lot of psychological damage that comes with a physical abuse, whether it's sexual or just
Absolutely.
gender based or domestic. And so that's one thing that she really wants to combat as well, the kind of the mental um I guess illness that comes with the silence,
Hmm.
the silence and the stigma that societies like Nigeria has against people who have gone through sexual violence,
Hmm.
and kids who have gone through sexual violence. There's a culture of silence that needs to be
Hmm.
broken in Nigeria, and it can't be because people basically victimize the victim of such crimes.
Absolutely. That's
So
unfortunate.
yeah, it's unfortunate, but it is what happens.
That's what happens. Yeah.
She
Sad
so she
reality.
basically tries to use her organization to talk to kids and encourage them to speak out so that their mental health doesn't
Hmm.
get affected long term from keeping quiet for so long about something so horrible. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's a big part of what she tries to do with her platform. And so being that I understand that and I respect that, and I think that's such a great thing to want to do,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's her way of also giving back.
Yeah.
I am a part of her board, you know, um, basically trying to
This is
help
great.
her
Actually,
as much as
two
I can
talented
to
girls were making their waves around the world.
try.
I think absolutely, this is absolutely tremendous. And I'm
Try.
lucky to be. I'm lucky that I also interviewed her, and we talked about what Amani is doing in Nigeria. And I
I
think
watched
that,
that. Yeah,
yeah, I think the way she has made that thing work out in Nigeria, it's absolutely fundamentally,
I think so
tremendously
too.
nice. It's not easy to talk
It's not.
about such topics, to conduct
No.
workshops, or convince
Hmm.
people to fund such projects. So, Omi,
Yes,
thank
it's
you for
very
doing
hard.
it.
That's true.
Kechi, thank you for doing that too, being part of that. Kechi, you mentioned that you are probably working on a book writing.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And are you penning your memoir, or are you making it? Are you doing a solo album? I think you also are working on your debut album.
Sorry, I lost you for a sec. You said working on my book, but then I lost you for a
Yeah,
second
yeah.
there.
And probably you're
Mm.
also working on your debut album, solo
Yes,
album.
yes, I
Yeah.
am.
So, so, so let's talk about a bit about that. How's the journey
Okay.
so far?
Long, arduous, difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is challenging. I'm not gonna lie. Much more so than I expected, especially because these are two things that I love. You just never really think about the obstacles that you'll face when trying to do something. Just because you think you love these things, and so it should be easier, but nothing is easy. I love writing. I love singing. These are my two major passions, my two first passions, writing
Okay.
and singing. But the
Have you written a
path
song
to
yourself? Have you written a?
I'm writing the album that I'm bringing out doesn't have any song that I've written personally, but
Okay.
the one that I'm working on some stuff that hopefully will become something and I can release like after the first album. That's
Absolutely
also
got
something that is interestingly difficult too. I never thought that songwriting would be so hard, but then again, I never tried it before the show America's Got Talent. So I'm learning that as much as I can,
Hmm.
and I don't know, it's very nerve-wracking because it's a different kind of music, making your own, and it's almost like there's a vulnerability there that I
Yeah.
didn't anticipate. Wherever I write something, I don't want to share with anyone.
Yeah.
So
But
it's very funny.
you have a gift that God has given you. It's your voice. It's a beautiful soul. It's the positive energy that oozes out of you. So these are beautiful gifts, and the world absolutely needs people like you around to make things more sane and normal. Yeah. So this is not easy to do, and it takes an incredible grit and personality and character to be this positive that you are. Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so
Peachy. It
much.
was absolute pleasure talking to you. And yeah, I'll just end the particular program on a very famous poet, Rumi's quote. He says that it's the wound where the light comes from. So yeah, it's whenever I read it, I find it poignant because uh, all of us go through different stages of our lives, and all of us have stories to tell, and all of us, yeah, and all our stories are, tremendous. They are impactful, and we are all in our own space trying to add value to whatever we do every day. Now, this is important, and I think the sole purpose of introducing this particular series, You Are Awesome, is that no matter what stage of the struggle anybody is in the world, you the God is watching you, and He has a plan for you. So just have faith in whatever you are doing, and things will fall into their places, but it takes time sometimes.
It does take time.
So
It is.
all the people who have been supporting Kechi through whatever she is doing, and they are supporting her, I need to thank her, be it her family, friends, colleagues, the doctors, the nurses, or any other support system. And may you all have a wonderful life ahead of you. Thank you so much, Kechi. I can't thank
Thank
enough
you.
for you to be agreeing to do something like this for a nobody like me. So thank
No,
you.
you're not.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It means
Oh
a lot
no,
to
thank
me.
you, Fiza. Thank you. And thank you
Thank
to
you so
everyone who
much.
tuned in. I appreciate it. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
everyone. Stay
It's been a
blessed.
pleasure.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.